So your name is Nicole.
Yes.
And you have two sons.
I have two boys. One is 10 and one is 12.
Okay. And which one are you going to talk about? Both of them today? Or?
Well, I think we'll just concentrate on Connor because he is my child that has been in services all of his. Connor is autistic. He's ADHD, and he also has a mood disorder. And we were still having a lot of difficulties with him. He's been in OT since he was 4, and speech since he was 4. When we came here, I was homeschooling him because he could not be in a classroom setting for longer than 20 minutes at a time. It was overwhelming, and he would just have behaviors that were through the roof, and they would pull him out. So we knew we needed some occupational and speech when we came here, so we found Robin's, and we started therapy. I tell Robin this all the time. I wish we would have met her when he was 3, when we were starting therapies, because now we're getting to her and he was already let's see, he was 12, he was 9 when we came here. And so he already learned. Yes, yeah. He learned. And at that time, we couldn't take Connor to, really, restaurants were difficult because of the noise. Yes. Going to church was difficult. Going to anywhere where they had public restaurants was difficult. And he would freak out if there was a dryer there, that the sound of the dryer would throw him through the roof. Moving here to Kentucky and meeting Robin and going to Dovetail and working with the listening therapy, and it's been a life changer for Connor.
I'm glad to hear that.
Mm-hmm.
Was her approach a lot different than other approaches? Is it mostly the music that was so different, or were there other things with the OT that were also different?
You know what? It was all of it. I've never worked with anybody that worked with, and I don't know all the terminology, but worked with swings and the rotating, sit down and spinning and the vestibular kind of stuff that he needed work on. We never had therapy that worked on that.
Tell me about that.
Well, it was completely different than I've ever experienced with OT. Now, remember I said he started when he was 4 years old. So when he was 4, they focused on what are the skills that he is lacking, what is he having difficulties with, and let's work on those. So it was a lot of fine motor at 4 because that's when they start writing, and he couldn't grasp a pencil, and so they worked on fine motor skills and throwing and catching a ball, and so it was all repetition kind of work to get to do that.
Right.
When we met with Robin, she sat down, she said, tell me about him, and I'll never forget this. She interviewed us for 45 minutes before we even started, and she said, tell me what he was like as a baby. And I've never had anybody ask that. I mean, I've had people say, when did he start to crawl? When did he start to walk? Milestones. But she wanted to know deep questions like, the sounds, just different things that I've never had other people ask me. So she knew right away that he was hypersensitive to sounds. And that he lacked certain things. So she had us start. I was homeschooling, so it was easy for us to be committed to this, and we were committed to it.
I think that's important.
It was very important. You had to be committed to it. It was twice a day for 30 minutes at a time. And so we would do it in the morning, and we would do it in the afternoon. And
you just had to listen? Is that what
he had put headphones on, and there were different types of CDs. Sounds, some were music, some had words, some didn't, different frequencies, different pitches, and but he had to be doing something while he was listening to it. So he couldn't just go in a room and put on his headphones, although he would have loved to have done that.
Okay.
He had to be interacting with us for, somehow, so he would hear other noise, because it was not a turn it on and block out everybody else.
Okay.
So he had to be doing stuff while he was listening to it. And it was interesting just watching him, because sometimes he would just kind of zone out and really listen to it, and then other times you could tell that it was more intense and he didn't like it. So we would take notes, and then we would go back once a week with Robin, and she would say, okay, how did it go? What did he like about it? Did he not like about it? And she would adjust it, you know, as we went. We also noted that while he was listening to it, there were certain CDs that he was doing better in school with. He was able to focus longer. We weren't seeing as many tantrums. Some he was sleeping better. He started to ask for some before he went to bed, or there were some that Robin said, hey, listen to this before. And then his coordination and balance. There was different things that she would send home with us that we would continue at home. It wasn't just come for 30 minutes, because that's what a lot of it was. Come to our office, 30 minutes, and you're done, and then we'll see you next week. I think what was important with Robin's therapy is she had him be a part of it. Like really tuning into what he can tolerate and what helped him. So he was a part of his therapy. And so now I told Robin, I said, when we're having a difficult time with him, or he's having a difficult time in a certain area, I say, how can we help you? How can we help you? What do you need? Because he can tell us now what he needs. And I think she really helped him to. Connor is doing so much better. He is sleeping better. He is, like I said, with the amount of stimulation that he could tolerate now is so much better. It is. It's huge. It's huge. And not only that, but school. To go from 2 hours to 4 hours to 5 hours and now a full day, to able to sit in a classroom, because before it was he was in a classroom for 20 minutes, out of the classroom for 40, because there's so many different sounds. And now Connor's in 6th grade. He's going a full day of school. Wow. Yes. He does have an aide to help him navigate through. A lot of it is the social stuff. And it's in middle school so hard.
It's hard for all of them.
Oh gosh, it's so hard, the social stuff. So, but he's going a full day. Now, the miraculous thing, and I told Robin this, that Connor with sounds, even when he was little, there were certain people he could not be around. Pitches, voices. I had friends that if they talked, he would scream.
Was it a high pitch?
It was a high pitch, and he would scream. He couldn't be around them. And music. When we were traveling in the car, we couldn't listen to music. It would be so difficult for him. And I told you about church, and PE was always hard because of the gym and the sounds that would bounce off, the whistles, everything. He is now in band. Wow. Playing the trumpet.
Wow.
I know it. It's crazy. And this was after therapy.
Mm-hmm. So you're a huge advocate then.
Oh my gosh, yes. Major advocate, yes.
Oh, I'm so glad you
this whole year, just being able to be in the classroom.
That must have been great for you too.
Oh my gosh.
Having that, just knowing your kids doing okay.
Yes.
And they're progressing.
Yes. Oh well, and having independence for me too.
Yeah,
oh my
you
goodness.
can
I can do things.
Right.
I can work out again. I can, have a life outside of Connor. And
I think that's hope for other people, which is why I think Robin wanted to do these videos, because I think a lot of moms need to hear that there's hope, because when you're in the middle of it, it's like, this is never going to get better. It's just going to be harder as they get older, and it's not if you put forth effort. I think, and that's the big part is you got to get help. You got to get the right help. So if you don't, if you're at an occupational therapist, it's really not doing much for your kid. Look somewhere else and look at these things that she's talking about and make sure they're doing those things.
Right.
And then you have to practice. And I think
that's it. It takes a lot of work and a lot of commitment, but it is so worth it.